Israel is a country located in the Middle East, bordered by several nations including Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Egypt. It has a rich history and is known for its cultural diversity, historical significance, and ongoing geopolitical challenges. Lately, there have been ongoing protests in Israel due to a variety of reasons. The government's plans, aimed at curbing judicial overreach, are facing strong opposition from various groups, including lawyers, and have sparked concerns among leaders, deepening existing political divides. Critics argue that if these plans are approved, Israeli democracy's future is at risk. The proposed changes would increase political control over judicial appointments and limit the Supreme Court's ability to challenge government decisions and laws passed by the Knesset. By the way, the Knesset is the unicameral legislative body, and the Parliament of Israel. Protesters fear this could weaken judges' independence, reduce government and parliament oversight, and negatively impact minority rights while increasing corruption risks. Israel still doesn't have a written constitution since independence. Since the country's existence, trying to get a constitution is not finished yet. Israel stands out with its diverse attributes, like a significant Jewish population and a distinctive democratic model. This poses a puzzle of how to create a constitution that safeguards Judaism's future while upholding democratic ideals. This endeavor isn't just limited to local legislators. Jewish experts from around the world are also involved in shaping a new constitution. However, as of now, Israel still doesn't have a complete constitution that deals with these issues. Until now, they've proposed, drafted, and completed laws to suit the needs of administration, legislation, executive functions, judiciary matters, and essential social issues, all designed to achieve their goals. Going back in history, when the British held sway in the region, they made promises to both Arabs and Jews about relocating their areas. However, Britain exited the country and placed the United Nations in charge. The undivided the land between Arabs and Jews. Still, the one place both sides sought to control was Jerusalem. At times, Jerusalem was regarded as an international zone. Arabs were very much opposed to the decision, but Jews accepted and founded the State of Israel. There weren't many Jews just as Israel had been established. Oppressed Jews around the world migrated to Israel in a large number. As they are from various parts of the world, they have different ways of thinking. A general election was successfully held and formed the parliament. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is the head of the Israeli government and holds the highest executive authority in the country. He held office from 1996 to 1999 and then returned for a second stint from 2009 to present. He proposed amendments aimed at increasing his influence over judicial appointments and reducing the Supreme Court's authority. Interestingly, when others attempted to weaken the judicial branch's power in the past, Netanyahu strongly opposed such efforts. However, his stance has now shifted. This change of heart appears to be linked to his own legal issues involving corruption charges. If these charges were to proceed, it could potentially lead to his resignation. By gaining extensive control over the Supreme Court, he could potentially eliminate these charges. This newfound authority would allow him to appoint and remove judges at will. This proposal sparked public discontent, with people taking to the streets to protest, as Netanyahu suggested alterations within the judiciary branch. If the Supreme Court's power is reduced, it essentially hands over extensive authority to Netanyahu. Taking away the court's role in checks and balances, his actions could concentrate power solely in his grasp, creating a pathway towards a possible dictatorship. Moreover, if one person has unchecked control over Israel, the result is unsettling. Considering Israel's possession of nuclear weapons and advanced military technology, and the ongoing tensions with neighboring Arab countries, the potential outcomes are deeply worrying. People were resolute in their refusal to grant him complete authority. During the parliamentary voting, he secured 64 votes in favor, while none stood in opposition. The absence of opposing votes can be attributed to the fact that the entirety of the opposition seemed indifferent to the voting process. They chose to distance themselves, opting instead to engage in vocal criticism and condemnation of those who supported Netanyahu. People who supported him are now feeling angry, and various professional sectors such as teachers and doctors are participating in civil disobedience movements. The situation becomes more concerning as even volunteer soldiers in Israel, who belong to the IDF, are getting involved. What's even more striking is that, unlike in other places where young people are excited about university choices, in Israel, youths are eager to determine the specific department within the IDF they will serve in. For instance, there's a lot of excitement around being chosen for Unit 820, a group of exceptionally skilled individuals focused on tasks like signal intelligence, code decryption, counterintelligence, cyber warfare, and military intelligence. This anticipation extends to units like the Pilot Unit, Technology Unit, Tapilot Unit, and Elite Divisions. Gaining entry into these units is considered to be as challenging as securing admission to institutions like Harvard or Yale. The IDF has helped people become really good at jobs that are often even better than what they learn in regular universities. So, in Israel, how well you did in school matters less than what you did in the military. When people go for job interviews, they care more about the part of the military they worked in rather than where they went to school. Some jobs only want people who are in Unit 820. Therefore, it's reasonable to regard all Israeli citizens as skilled in military matters, as military service is mandatory for most Israeli citizens. Now we can guess why it is concerning if voluntary soldiers join CDM while Israel is in full of conflicts with nearby Arab nations. And if there's a lack of domestic unity, nearby enemies could exploit the situation. Protesters have expressed that the nation is already facing challenges such as increasing commodity prices, an unstable relationship with Palestine, the presence of dangerous adversaries like Hezbollah, and uncertainty about a potential conflict with Iran. They argue that given these circumstances, it's not advisable to hastily amend the law. Even Joe Biden advised not to rush. To wrap up, the protests in Israel are because people are worried about the government's plans to control the courts. People are concerned this might hurt democracy, minority rights, and cause corruption. Israel doesn't have a full constitution, making things more complicated. The changes, connected to Prime Minister Netanyahu's legal troubles, make people worried about too much power in one person's hands. Many different groups are involved in the protests, showing how serious the situation is. Finding a balance between change and keeping democracy safe is really important as Israel deals with these issues alongside its neighbors.